Sharks. My name is Zeb Fox, and this is my assistant, Carly. So this all started when I was lying in my bed one night and I just couldn't fall asleep. Every time I would toss or turn, my bed would squeak so loudly it would wake me up or wake my roommate up. So I had an epiphany. I was thinking to myself, I'm an engineering student, I've got a 3D printer in my room, maybe I can make a solution to this product. So I looked at my bed, I looked at some material choices, and I made a design. I implemented it on my bed, a couple other beds. Then I realized that people liked it so much that they would pay for it. So I started selling it. In fact, I've got over 24 sales here at Harding University, and that led me to the heights, where I was able to make an e-commerce website. So now anyone can buy it, not just Harding students. The first step in doing this was finding out if people actually have squeaky beds. So I made a survey, and in fact, over 90% of the people that filled out the survey said that their bed squeaks often or always. And this is more than just an annoyance. It also causes people to have a lack of sleep, not just themselves, but also their roommates. And a lack of sleep can contribute to poor mental health, poor physical health, and poor academic performance. Poor academic performance could cause you to have a low GPA. A low GPA means less scholarships. So you could be losing money by having less sleep. So here's our solution, the SqueakStopper. Kelly's going to hand out the SqueakStopper to each of you. There are two different types. The SqueakStopper SE, that fits most of the guys' beds on campus, and the WE fits most of the girls' beds on campus. The letter just indicates whether or not the bed end is steel or made of wood. And this is actually, our campus is actually a really great representation of the US campus housing market. So I'm sure you're wondering, is it actually that bad? How could a squeak wake someone up? So I've got a little video here. So there you can see just how silent it is after the SqueakStopper is installed. So although we don't have any direct competitors, as in this is kind of a first of its kind product, I have seen some people use things such as lubricants like WD-40 to reduce their bed squeak. However, in some cases this is completely ineffective, as in their bed still squeaks, and in some cases it's only temporarily effective. So it only lasts for say, a week or so. And past that, say you want to use a different sleep aid, say melatonin. That costs about $10 for a couple months supply. Our product costs $10 for a lifetime fix. Our target market started here at Harding University, as I said, with our trial run. However, we're going to take our experience from Harding and seek out 6 schools with a targeted ad campaign. I've done some basic math, and that equates to about 15,000 sales if we can hit 40% of that market. Past that, we'll seek out the rest of the US campus housing market, and that provides a huge critical risk. What happens if we just run out of beds? Well, that's where contracts come into play. A good place to look would be the military. They've got over 1 million service members, and a lot of their beds squeak. Past that, we're looking at getting a patent on this, and with a patent, we can collect royalties from bed manufacturers. Our marketing strategy starts first with quick, comedic social media videos. We already have an Instagram account. We're going to branch out to X and other social media soon, and all of the social medias lead directly to our funnel page. And our funnel page is where all the magic happens. The first thing you'll see here is the countdown timer showing our Shark Tank sale, and past that you'll see some basic information, which one they should buy, and some basic instructions. So you've looked at all this, you want to buy it, all you have to do is scroll right back up, click buy now, fill out some information, and it'll be shipped to your dorm box, or your office box. So I'm sure you're looking at this like, I'm a college student, I want my bed fixed now, why can't I have it fixed now? Well, you actually can. If you pull out your phone right now, scan the QR code, you can buy SqueakStopper. And while they're doing that, Carly's going to showcase my little models here with the SqueakStopper. The first one is the SqueakStopper WE. It just slots into the bed mix like that. That's most of the girls' norms. Now the other one is the SqueakStopper SE. That's most of the guys' norms. Instead of 2 SqueakStoppers, it's just one, and it slots into all 4 at once. So if everyone's done scanning the QR code, I'll move on to my financials. Before we cover anything on the income statement, it's crucial that we have some key assumptions. So our first key assumption was our units sold for the first year. I already discussed how we're going to achieve that. I applied similar techniques to get to my second and third year, However, in reality, our third year, we would hope to be seeking contracts, but that's really hard to quantify, so I just use the similar techniques. If you take our 15,000 sales, multiply that by the unit cost, which is $10 per SqueakStopper, that adds up to about $150,000 of revenue. If you subtract out our cost of goods sold and expenses, that leaves us with a net income of about $70,000, which yields a net profit margin of about 50%. So Sharks, you've seen that my startup costs are going to be about $70,000. Of that, I'm going to invest $20,000 of my own money, and I'm asking you Sharks for the remaining $50,000. In return, I'm offering a 25% annualized return rate, which will be returned at about $100,000 at the end of year 3.
Very excellent presentation. That was really fun. Glad you already got some sales. So, I guess my first question, so where are you producing these, or are you having somebody produce them? Obviously you printed them the first few, so how are you going to actually be producing these?
So the first few I've produced all in my dorm. I've got a 3D printer in my room, and the great thing about that is I don't actually have to be in the room for them to be printed, so it's a bit of a passive deal. But in the future, I would like to, in my financials, I included buying more printers, because it's really easy to scale 3D printers.
Oh, okay, so how much would it cost you actually to make each product? What is your actual cost per unit?
So that's a great question. So an easy way of calculating that is just taking the consumables and the materials and adding that with electricity. So that's about 19 cents. However, once you add in labor, it adds up to about $3. But that's just the labor, like, to actually do it. But people don't just work the time they have to fix it. So I actually, in my income statement, added $25 per hour, $40 per week.
And then each, I assume that a girl's dorm versus the male dorm is actually a different price, or are they the same? Are they just a flat price?
No, ma'am, they're the same price because it's a very similar amount of material and they use the same packaging.
Awesome. Great presentation. Loved it. A couple of questions for you. One would be on material cost. As you sell more of these, are you looking to potentially change the material to even something stronger than what you have today?
Of course, that's a great question. So the material is actually really suitable for this. It's called thermoplastic polyurethane. It's more durable than silicone and a lot of rubbers. However, I have been looking into adding lubrication agents such as PTFE, that's Teflon for any of you that know that.
Yeah.
So it would be more of a modifying the material than changing.
Got you. My next question is, obviously these work for the beds at Harding, and I see you've done your research on those, but as you expand into different universities or the military, like you were mentioning, how do you plan to make products to adjust for maybe a different style bed?
Well, that's a great question, and an easy way to tackle that is I actually emailed our bed supplier here, and our bed supplier has already sold over 100,000 of their beds, so they have similar beds to us. And past that, if you do a simple Google search, every single bed that will come up, like on dorm bed manufacturers, looks exactly like one of our 2 beds.
And then would you consider selling it wholesale to bed manufacturers to put them on the bed as they're being manufactured?
I would, yes, but even further than that, I'm going to seek a patent, and rather instead of me making it, it would be collecting a royalty from them.
Yes, want to compliment you again. Great presentation. So my questions are along the lines of, it is a very simple product, right? And it just seems like it would be so easy to copy. And you said you're gonna go the patent route on that?
Exactly, yes, sir. We're working on getting a utility patent pretty soon.
Okay. Are there other markets besides beds? I mean, because let's give you an example. We recently owned an RV and everything squeaked on that RV. Everything, right, David? So I don't know if there's other markets, but have you looked at other markets?
So other markets, I've seen the same material from a 3D printer be used on shock mounts, so like as a mount for the shock. And I was considering seeing if they're applicable to chassis mounts on trucks. If you've ever driven a heavy-duty truck, you'll notice that it like squeaks whenever you put a load on it. But I'm not secure on any other avenues.
How did you come up with your product? Is there another? Well, that's the first question. And do you have any competing products out there on the market right now?
No, sir. There's nothing like this that I've found.
Oh. How did you come up with the idea?
So I am an engineering student, so that helps a little with design. However, my suite mate, who's actually in the crowd right now, was stuffing earplugs into his bed ends, which is a decent solution, but it's not that easy to like shove in. So I designed a SqueakStopper based on that principle of dampening.
So, did you say that this product lasted for a long period of time? Was there ever the risk of it stopping to work after a few months?
So I actually only I made the first one a little over a month ago, and it's held up fine. And I've actually done a little research to find out how much they deform or creep over time. And what I found is that the majority of the creep happens within the first 24 hours, and we've made it over a month. So it should be a long-term solution.
I have a bunch of questions, but I'm trying to think. So, I guess my question is, obviously, I know you're kind of targeting students at this point, but what about just going directly to the colleges and saying, hey, I've got a solution, have you thought about just a whole package of that?
So I have thought about that, but especially colleges like here, where everything has a specific amount of money allocated to it, it can be hard for, like, say, maintenance to get these in. So that's not going to be our first look. And also, faculty doesn't actually experience the squeaky beds, students experience the squeaky beds.
So, another finance question for you. One thing that e-commerce sellers always struggle with is the cost of shipping. Because customers never want to pay for shipping, but yet it can be considered a high cost and a cost of doing business. So what does your shipping and distribution look like today?
So I went to the United States Postal Service actually yesterday and asked them about this. And my cheapest method is going to be somewhere a little under $1, somewhere between 58 cents and $1. However, in the future that could change depending on who's sending the packages to them. And that's calculated in my income statement.
So, sorry, is this something that's included so it's included in the cost of the product, or do you charge this additionally?
It's included in the cost.
I just have more of a comment. When I originally read your presentation, and there were no pictures, and I was like, what is this product? I don't know if y'all felt that way, but I was like, what is this? But I have to say, I'm actually very impressed. So, thank you so much.